Hello, I'm David Kain. I'm the president of Kain Automotive, and I'm really glad that you're joining us today for my conversation with Alex Vetter, who is the CEO of Cars Inc. And when I was early in digital, cars.com, obviously getting the URL cars.com, that really was the epitome. And I would imagine as soon as anybody kind of woken to the idea of, man, we got to get a cool URL. Let's try cars.com. Let's try trucks.com or whatever. Some people were just a little quicker on the trigger than others, right, Alex?
I guess some of us were a little bit lucky back then.
Absolutely. So, Alex, if you would, please tell us about Cars Inc. because it's not cars.com just anymore. We've got Dealer Rater. You've also got Dealer Inspire and Fuel. So, this is a lot to say grace over, and I'd like to have you acquaint the listeners to this and see what their thoughts are on where you all have gone as a company.
Well, listen, David, first of all, thank you for your leadership during this pandemic. What you're doing for dealerships, offering free trainings and putting together content like this. It's not surprising me that you're showing up when people need help, and that's who you are, and I know you well, and so just thank you for having me.
Oh, you're sure welcome.
Look, I've been fortunate to be in the digital technology business for over 25 years. You rattled off some of the companies. We also own pickuptrucks.com. We've got a satellite website, auto.com. So we've been involved with a lot of different properties in the digital technology auto ecosystem. And the business has grown through that expansion because our general belief is that while cars.com is sort of the flagship brand that it has household recognition, so much of the future industry is really about tools and technology and solutions that allow dealerships to operate more efficiently. And I think, our businesses are well timed because if there's going to be a lasting impact of COVID, it's that operators are going to have to get much more efficient than ever before. And I like to think that we're building the dealership tools of tomorrow that will enable it.
Yeah, there's no question. And certainly, as you can imagine, most of our clients work with the cars.com platform. And you all actually have expanded the amount of services that you offer there. And I want to get into, the depth and the breadth of those services. But first off, we rarely have an opportunity to meet the people behind the business. And I was eating lunch with a gentleman in Lexington one day, and he happens to be a private investor in companies. And I asked him, I said, why do you invest in certain companies? And he goes, well, obviously business model, earnings, and all those other elements have a lot to do with it. But it always comes down to, do I like the people? Do I trust the people? Do I believe the leadership team really has the vision and the awareness of what the future could hold? So if you could, tell us a little bit about you, because I think to a large degree, you've literally been nose to the grindstone since you got into this role. And prior to that, you were this, sales guy who went out there and met dealers. You shook hands and really made people understand, what you all could do. So you come from a real good orientation, but bring yourself to life, if you don't mind, just for the color of the audience listening to this.
Well, look, I thank you, David, for that. I guess I don't really think I've been different over the years. I think I've been the same person, just with companies and expansion. But I think on a personal level, I was raised by small business owners. My dad had a small town law firm. My mom had was an antique dealer. My sister was a chef. My uncle, an aunt run an art store. So I've just been raised by entrepreneurs and small business owners. And, if you think about technology, most technology has disrupted small business in favor of big box or mass platforms. And I think that's core to our ethos. We want to be a technology enabler that actually helps small businesses operate more efficiently. And I think, so many people group our companies into all the other usual suspects, but I think when I really step and analyze the different players in this industry, we truly have local business as our core ethos and DNA and what we're all about. I'd like to be the largest automotive company that never touches an automobile. The dealers do that beautifully.
Yes.
But I would like my technology to help them do it much more efficiently than ever before. And I think that is a unique difference to our businesses.
Well, so let's talk about the core business that you're known for, Cars.com. You kind of have raised that. You and Mitch and the team over the years really had a path where you wanted to take the company. Have you achieved the vision? Are you 50% there? What are your hopes and dreams?
I think thank you for asking that, because I think so many people paint with a broad brush. And if you really understand these companies and how they operate and how they create value, there are vast differences. I look at some of the other marketplace players, and with all due respect, because I do appreciate anybody that operates in this industry, but many of them rely on marketing gimmicks and manipulation of information to generate conversions or to generate the illusion of a sale. And then they'll claim credit.
Yeah.
And I understand that, but we've always, since the inception of Cars, been focused on building editorial content and independent reporting on vehicles, dealerships, and information. And so I'm proud that today, we have the highest concentration of organic traffic that comes to us without us having to manipulate a search engine or bid against our dealer partners for keywords. We have the highest concentration of organic traffic because we staff a large team of expert editors that drive every car that's coming onto the roads, often before it comes into the showrooms. And so when you look at that, why it's important for dealers to understand that, marketing should be about incremental sales, and being able to, and we're bringing more new buyers into the market all the time. We may not have the, marketing strategy to market to somebody who's already in the dealership and then say, fill out this form so we can get credit. That's not our ethos or what we do, but somehow the other players light up a CRM and dealers think that's fantastic, but it's a sale they would have otherwise gotten on their own. And I think we're really trying to build a platform that generates net new buyers into the system and into the industry. And hopefully our dealer partners recognize that.
Yeah, so you expressed a little bit of the phonics of the industry and things that dealers really, to a large degree, should know about, but don't necessarily have time or have the orientation. So let's dig just a little bit deeper. So you're in a competitive marketplace, obviously. When we were growing up, we had the ABC, NBC, CBS, and maybe some other company,
Yeah.
WGN or something like that. So the key is from a big giant platform standpoint, you're in there slugging it out with the likes of Auto Trader and Car Gurus and companies like that. What are the differentiating points that you'd like to get across to this audience that do separate you all from a foundational standpoint? What makes Cars.com technically more effective, and do we spend less and get more? I'll disclose this: our clients do get a better return on investment. And I know you and I have slugged it out over the years, and I always go back to cost per vehicle sold, and you're like, well, no, it's not necessarily that. And you're appreciative of my perspective given my dealer background, but at the same point, I'm respective of your perspective, because ultimately we've got to meet in the middle and make sure that everyone benefits. And most assuredly, a viable Cars.com means a viable partner of Cars.com, which is your dealer. So let's get into a little bit from that competitive side. What makes you different?
Well, look, you know me well enough to know I'm going to be respectful of my competition. But what I would tell you is that if you look at the common thread across all of my companies, they're designed to help dealers compete on dimensions other than just price. Too often this industry makes every car sale just about the price. And I think if you look at all of my businesses, they've really helped differentiate the dealership first and foremost in what they bring to the table. And then the value of the product and the performance of the dealership. So Dealer Rater, right? It's about differentiating on the dealership experience. How can me as a sales associate get my rating to be 5 stars, or the dealership overall because they do best in class service. Dealer Rater helps dealers tell a story about the quality of their operation. I think that's the same way on Cars.com. Other marketplaces will say things like, "Oh, we sort your inventory on a bell curve, equally weighted with bad deals on one, and good deals." But if you actually turn that model vertically on a search engine, it pushes all the higher priced cars to the bottom and only rewards you to lower your price. And then they go out and consult dealers and say, lower your price, lower your price. And even some of the auction companies that own these platforms, that's the advice they're always giving dealerships. Like, you're not competitive on price, lower the price. And so you wonder why this industry has had declining profit margins, over the better part of 5 years. Look, TrueCar launched in 2012. That was the last year we had front-end gross profit on a new vehicle sale.
Wow.
Not a coincidence. Used cars have been declining in gross profits for the last 5 years with the rise of the deal badges by the guru guys.
Yes.
And look, those are gimmicks. And I'm just telling you that the industry has got to find a way to differentiate on other dimensions than price. And when I say that, that's why we spend so much on editorial content with ratings and reviews. Autocorrected, which systematically helps show dealers what features they left off the car that they can now add to the vehicle description to get higher gross profit. If dealers would start to analyze their gross profit per sale by platform, they would have no doubt who's their number one partner in this game.
You bet. Now let's take a quick pause there for emphasis. So for my whole career, I started selling cars in '82. We were taught to do a 6-position walk around and sell the value. And I remember early Joe Verdi training used to say, show them the map pocket behind the seat and the valet mirror, the vanity mirror over the sun visor. And that might be something someone else didn't point out. So let's go into this tool that you were just talking about, the autocorrector, that helps me elevate the value of my product, as opposed to what we call in the process end of the game, cash register salespeople. So, we just check them out after the website presents the price and stuff. But we also are finding that the value story is so critical to the success of holding. Let's not even call it gross. Gross sounds gross, right? Holding a fair margin, a fair profit margin, that's not a bad word, but selling the vehicle for what its true market value is. And I think that's what the autocorrect is designed to do, from what I understand. Let's talk about what's the utilization rate and how does that actually help a dealer?
So Autocorrected is a free service for any subscribing Cars.com dealer. We do need you to opt in because we don't want to change your listings without your permission, right? And so I think we've got about 10,000 dealers that use this utility. What we've done is we've built an actual data table going back for vehicles, I think over 12 years now. And so much of trade-ins today, the features on the cars aren't visible to the human eye. And so as a dealership's looking at appending what features this car has to market it, they can't see a lot of these things, such as a certain set of technology in the sunroof, or features in terms of mechanical features that the dealer is unaware that that's how the car was built when they first, when it was first sold. And so our technology will go in, will identify, and what we found is that on average, dealers were missing out on almost 30% of the features that vehicles are equipped with. Now, why it's important is not just because the list of features on the website But consumers today online are actually being very specific as to what features they're looking for, even as specific as Apple Play. Does it have Apple Play? I don't want to buy a car that doesn't have it. If it's not in the data file, when someone searches for a car with Apple Play, that it's like it doesn't exist. And so Autocorrected will automatically, no different than spell check, show you which cars are missing things so that you can get those appended to your listings.
Yeah, brilliant idea. So as a result, when you've got one player in the market that creates this strategy of great deal, good deal, fair deal, overpriced, literally someone who has no emotional connection, has never walked out on that lot, never gone through the accumulation of knowledge that I've gone through, has now told me my vehicle's overpriced. As a dealer, I'm just like, damn, I'm really irritated by that, and how dare they? But at the same point, why do dealers stay in that environment? Is it because they're hooked, or because there are other variables that cause it? Because I remember the first time you and I went back and forth about, how dare you, Alex, letting consumers put ratings on the website, and as the person who's doing the listing of my vehicle, I don't like you asking consumers to rate our dealership. But you said, hold your breath there, brother. It's going to work out. When the good dealers really are rated, we're going to be okay. At the same point, what do you say to dealers who stay in that environment where somebody is literally forcing them? Because I hear it all the time, and you probably hear it anecdotally, but I hear it in strategy sessions. We're going to have to go into Car Gurus and reprice all of our vehicles so that even though it becomes a greater deal there, it really becomes a really ridiculous deal on your platform or AutoTrader. So why? What's the psychology? You got.
Well, look, I think dealers suffer from a lot of challenges, but one of them is the fear of missing out. We know that, right? No one wants to miss out on a sale. And some of these platforms do a really good job of manipulating mindsets to make them feel like they're going to lose if they don't participate. And I think in a weird way, one of the things that COVID is going to do is allow dealers to really see the attribution game better than ever. And I think, but look, I looked at like vAuto and Car Gurus as somewhat in the same problem, in that once everybody's using them, it's just a massive race to the bottom to erase profits. And look, Dale's a good friend of mine. I respect everything that they're doing for the industry, but when you were the only dealer using it, it allowed you to be able to be more competitive than the other players in the market. But once the whole market uses it, everybody's now discounting cars, far too steeply. And I think it's the same thing on the deal badge platforms that sort by cheapest cars. In order to survive, you've got to keep lowering the gross. And again, I just think that it's fine if that's the game you're going to play. We think that dealers just generating reviews on their own business gets your brand and your salespeople's names out in Google, Facebook, Cars.com, AutoTrader. So like DealerRater as a marketing strategy is a much more positive component to your marketing mix than these race to the bottom models that I understand why you use them to generate a sale, but as a strategy, it's crazy.
I couldn't agree more. So tell us how, if I'm judging your service at the end of a month, I'm going through the billing, I'm like, dang, this much money for Cars.com, should we keep them when we turn over? What's the metric that you recommend dealers look for in maintaining your services?
Great question, David. Listen, dealers tend to look at cost per lead or closing rate. And I think dealers have got to look at gross profit per sale on leads, right? That's an important lens to look at. But I think importantly, dealers should be looking at their back-end website metrics. Other platforms restrict the dealer information so that they can generate more leads. That's not what we do. If you look at Cars.com, we promote the dealership as loudly as we do the lead form. And so if dealers were to look at their back-end metrics, and I see this vividly every day with Joe Chara at Dealer Inspire, he can look at 4,000 dealer websites and I'll say, Joe, which marketplace is driving more traffic into dealers' websites, and it's never changed. There's not a dealer that's not getting more traffic from Cars.com than any other marketplaces. In most cases, we're 3 times the volume.
Wow.
And so, and dealers, you know this, they know that their website is their highest closing rate lead. So, but dealers have got to make that connection. Those dealers that like to look at us as just a lead provider, they only look at 1/3 of our value. If you were to look at the website metrics as a whole new dimension of how to include that in the ROI of our monthly subscription, you'd probably stay with us just on that metric alone, because we're generating the traffic that comes from Cars.com is converting to leads on dealer websites at 4 times the rate of all their other marketing. And so I think, the pandemic is going to start to illustrate this more for dealerships because they've cut so much marketing.
Yeah.
So now they're able to look at their website analytics and see how we convert. And I think dealers that do that are overwhelmingly not only our best customers, but they're like, what else can I buy from you? We'll take everything you've got.
Good. I agree. So Alex, let's talk about Joe and let's talk about Dealer Inspire. Bold move on your part. You freshly minted CEO of this company that you've worked your long-term career at, and all of a sudden now you've got the reins, and you got pressure from the market. You're a public company now, and you're trying to make a decision. Who do I partner with? What do we absorb into our business? Why Dealer Inspire? And let's evaluate through your eyes, was it the right move, and is it working to help grow your business?
Look, easy. First of all, technology and innovation. The Dealer Inspired team and the way Joe built that business was technology first. And it wasn't about sales and marketing and being loud with noise. It was all substance. And so the technology they were building and the innovation track that they had going was like nothing I had seen. I certainly would also say a key thing for any deal is the philosophy of a company. And as Joe and I have been friends for a while and spent time talking about the industry, we share this conviction that our technology should enable dealerships to operate more profitably. It should not negatively impact the dealership. Everything that we bring to market needs to be a net gain for the dealership, not a loss. And so we share this philosophy, which is about dealership enablement and advocacy. And I think that's really important from a cultural standpoint. I think, the other factor is it certainly helps that they are in my backyard. We're in Chicago, their headquarters are in Naperville. And so the career pathing of our employees being able to job swap or move between the various companies is certainly an advantage. But I think as far as dealers are concerned, it really is about the technology and about the innovation.
Yeah, and you look at the fact that here's a guy that built Fords on an assembly line, Joe Chara, becomes a general manager of a car dealership, does cheesy ads. So he's been through those marketing channels. In a basement, starts building websites and technology, and then just springs onto the market with this WordPress platform that is remarkable and innovative. And you're right. So organically, that has to make you feel really good that you got somebody who's been through the labor pains to grow a company to this level.
Yeah, and he's done a great job. And it takes 2 to tango, though. Joe could have sold his business to anybody. And I think if I had to, speak on his behalf, I asked Joe, I said, Joe, look at your back end metrics. I know most dealers view us as a lead provider, but look at the back end of all your websites and tell me who's driving more traffic directly into dealer websites that the dealerships are unaware of. And he saw it. And so, that was not a marketing statement. That was data driven by Joe. He saw what I think dealers are going to start to see, and saw that we were bringing net new buyers into the funnel, and we were delivering them directly into the dealer's website. And I think so he saw the long-term value play that we were going to bring to the industry as well. And it's been a great combination, and it's allowed us to expand even the new businesses like fuel and other things that we've co-created.
Cool. So I want to talk about fuel because fuel's interesting. But I also want you to touch on DealerRater, because that's what Chelsea and Steve and I do each day, is try to improve the reputation of not just the dealer, but you all have done a great job of elevating the worth of the individual salesperson. What do you like about that business, and why is it important to a dealer's future?
Anybody that knows anything about this business knows it's a people business, David, right? And I think that what we saw is that consumers, yes, they're looking for a car, but they're also looking to buy from someone they trust.
Yeah.
And I think that again, most of the other marketplaces play down people and make it all about price. We think there's human elements to the deal that nobody has started to think about. And that's why DealerRater was one of the first acquisitions I did. It helps people tell their individual stories. And by the way, let me insert a small commercial here. It launched this week, and so I'm excited about it. But we launched a Refer Me button on all of the DealerRater profiles, so that a seller at a dealership can basically, for every sale they generate, they can send out a link that basically says Refer Me, and then the person they sold the car to, it will broadcast that seller's profile to all their social media accounts.
Wow.
And David, this is an example of, again, our ethos. The best marketing is word of mouth.
Yeah.
It's free.
Yeah.
And so the Refer Me button that's at the bottom of a picture allows you to get your customers to refer deals to you. You can offer them a $100 incentive, but the dealers that have been in our beta, they're saying their gross profit from these referrals are the best deals they've ever done. And they're getting their salespeople to organically market the dealership and themselves and generate their own sales. And so that's a new free feature we just rolled out through DealerRater, and I'm excited about it. But car buying is a human, emotional deal, and I think that we can work with dealerships to help bring that element to light.
I think so too. So now let's talk about fuel. What is it? Tell me about it.
Well, so look, fuel is really, I jokingly refer to it as the love child of Cars.com and Dealer Inspire. I hired Dean Evans out of Hyundai to come lead that business because we had the parts and we just needed a leader to help bring it to market. And Dean's done a phenomenal job there. But really what it was is when we first launched Cars Social, which was a social media program for dealerships, we were blown away by the data. Dealers were advertising $10,000 a month on Facebook. And we said, can we just do an experiment here? Let us take $2,000 and run that same campaign, but put our first party data against it. And what we saw is that we were generating 5 to 7 times the volume on a fifth of the cost.
Wow.
And what it taught us is that the power of our first party data, that if we know who's entering the market, because Cars.com is often the first place people start to shop because of our brand and our research and our content. So they start their research there. So now we know this IP address, be it a cell phone or this Macintosh, we know somebody has entered the market. Now we've enabled dealerships to run campaigns against that data signal anywhere they want. And the power of our first party data allows dealerships to jump ahead of the market because we're classifying an in-market signal. And I think that's the real power of fuel, is that we're allowing dealerships to leverage the $200 million we spend every year in capturing demand and deliver their own first party messages. It has nothing to do with Cars.com, but you're using the Cars.com data signal to know who you're reaching. David, only 5% of the population is in the market at any given time. And dealerships are running ads on network television or evening news. And so by definition, they're spending money on a 95% waste. And what Fuel does is it allows them to narrowcast their marketing messages to the population that has already said, I'm now entering into the market. And the dealers that have jumped on with us with Fuel, I think are going to have an unfair competitive advantage until the rest of the dealer body, figures it out.
Yeah, and I once again got to go through the dynamics of leadership. Dean sold cars. Dean was a general manager of a dealership. I met him 20 years ago when he was in charge of digital for Jaguar, Land Rover, and Volvo when we were launching Ford Direct. We became fast friends, have remained friends through his various stops along the journey. And last being the chief marketing officer for Hyundai USA. And then you snag him. This is a talent laden company. And certainly egos, are going to be part of that. You seem like a pretty cool dude. I've always seen you in situations you're very level-headed. How do you take all that talent and make sure that Dean can take fuel to where it can go? Dealer Inspire, the team at Dealer Rater. How do you manage all of
Well,
that?
look, and it doesn't just stop there. I mean, Dean brought with him Terry Loweridge, who owns dealerships and really was the founder of creating the first car commercial, on TV. And so
Yeah.
he's involved.
Who
Brooke
would have
Skinner,
thought from Cartersville, Georgia, you would have had someone that innovative, right?
well, and Brooke Skinner Ricketts. People don't know Brooke, but yeah, as well. But her father, shot commercials on dealership lots. And so when I hired Brooke, she had been out on with her dad at dealerships talking to him about the business. And so yes, we do try to find people who share our passion for helping dealers succeed, without a doubt. I mean, and I think that's been a core philosophy that if technology again can hurt local business if put in the wrong hands.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure the people that have their hands in the dials know what our ultimate mission is all about. But look, I've been watching The Last Dance, during this pandemic.
Yeah.
And I think my job is really about getting the system and the players on the team to work together. I've got plenty of all-stars and MVPs. But I asked them to really be part of a system and run more like that triangle offense, because individuals are strong, but the old saying, there's a proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone, and if you want to go far, go together.
Yes.
And I think that's the philosophy I believe in, and that we couldn't have created Fuel if DI's technology platform couldn't naturally ingest Cars.com's first-party data. Dealer Rater couldn't have been successful if they couldn't write APIs directly into Cars.com, AutoTrader, Facebook, and Google. So I think it's beyond just the way I run the company, is that the way we operate is to be a seamless integration between our assets to help make dealerships run more efficiently.
Too cool. Alex, this has sure been fun to have a little coffee talk with you. I see you got your smart water or whatever you are drinking there. It's fun to see where you've come in your career, and I look forward to what you're able to bring to the dealer. Any closing thoughts on how to plan the comeback? How do we work through all the challenges that are going to be coming into the industry?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, I'd like to try to add some value. Make sure all your listeners know this weekend is Mother's Day. And do not forget, make sure you do something great for your mom or your wife, or any mom out there deserves our focus and praise. And I'd also say, I'm really pleased with the trends that we're seeing right now, David. Every day, I'm seeing progress being made. New car trends have started to go on the up. Used car is fast following, and I think that's going to continue to accelerate. As we look at our data and we're surveying shoppers in real time, a full 20% of our population who said they weren't in the market until COVID, but now they don't want to go back to mass transit or ride sharing services or get back on an airplane. I think this summer will be the first summer that nearly every family vacation will be people getting in their cars and going somewhere. I think the highways will be packed this summer. And I know it's difficult, but I think dealerships have got to learn from this pandemic and operate their business differently.
Yes.
I look at West Her Group in New York, right, upstate New York, and what they've done there. They sold this week, or the same number of cars they had sold in the prior period last year, all through digital technology and on a fraction of their marketing budget and a fraction of their staff. And this is a business that's going to be won by those that are most efficient. And so if dealerships aren't using technology to make their business hum, call me. We can help out on that regard. And I just think that's going to be the big lasting impact of COVID, is that I think dealerships can operate their businesses with 25% less cost, and yet use technologies to generate the same volume of sales that they were once generating before. But it's going to take hard work and everybody leaning in together.
God, that just brings out my Southern roots, and I want to say amen. That is remarkable. So, Alex, a pleasure. I really appreciate your time, and I hope we can circle back somewhere down the road when we're post-COVID and talk about how things have worked out from there.
We're going through a lot together and virtually, and it's certainly going to be nice when we can get together physically and look back at all that we've been through. And David, thank you for your leadership and all you're doing to help dealers out there. I really appreciate you, partner.
Thank you. I've got a great team, and they're working hard with me. Thank you very much.
You sure do. All right. Thank you very much, David. Take care.
Thank you.